Hello and welcome to What Stephen Reads. My name is Stephen. This is going to be my first BookTube video. And to get started, I wanted to show you some books that I'm thinking about starting to read next, because I don't have a TBR per se. I have my bookshelf, and basically every book I have not read is part of my TBR. And of course I have my want to read on Goodreads. So what I did was I picked out a few books from different genres, kind of all over the place right now, and I thought I'd show you what some of the contenders and see what's going to be my next read. So first up is a little bit of fantasy, and it's Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and then after that obviously comes Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. So I've only read one book from V.E. Schwab, and which is why I want to get started on these, and that is the famous The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I loved, and I started reading this when I really restarted my reading habit. It was the third book I had read 2 years ago, and I really loved it. It was enjoyable, so I wanted to get into her other books, which I actually bought these fairly close to when I finished reading this, but then I wanted to buy in a whole bunch of other books, because that's what we do, we just buy a ton of books. So Vengeful and Vicious, and honestly I haven't read the description in quite a while. Let's see what it says here. A superpowered collision of extraordinary minds and vengeful intentions. V.E. Schwab returns with the thrilling follow-up to Vicious, which, oh, this is Vicious, this is the first one right over here. Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognized the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities, but when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. So obviously this is different than The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I've heard V.E. Schwab, she mentioned in an interview once that Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, she was working on for years and years and years until it came out. So it's vastly different, but still I like her writing, and I think I'd like to read something else by her. That would be fun. Then we have Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary, which I believe is being turned into a Netflix movie rather, and I've never read anything by Andy Weir. And it's basically about someone who I'm assuming was in cryo freeze or whatever they call it, and he wakes up, his crewmates have passed on, and it's up to him to solve some problem hurtling towards Earth, and he wakes up and he's not even aware of what his job is. It must have something to do with the cryo sleep. So that's my science fiction pick as a next read. Then we have Thomas Pynchon's Crying of Lot 49. I've never read anything by Thomas Pynchon. So his other book, Gravity's Rainbow, is a super huge, thick book, and I don't know if I want to get into that if I don't like his writing. So this book, Crying of Lot 49, is only 152 pages. This could be read in 2 days, 1 day, if you're really devoted to it. And a quick description, the highly original satire about Oedipa Maas, a woman who finds herself enmeshed in a worldwide conspiracy, meets some extremely interesting characters, and attains a not inconsiderable amount of self-knowledge. Does it sound like something that would normally interest me? No, not really, but it's a quick read, and if I like his writing, I'll move on to the other book eventually. Alright, and then the next book is literary fiction. It's called The Guncle. I'd seen this in Barnes & Noble, and it just looked like it might interest me. It's an LGBTQIA book about an uncle that I believe gains custody of his niece and nephew after unfortunate circumstances, let's just say that. And I guess he's come to terms with taking care of 2 kids now, and basically having his single life and not having to worry about things like having children and all that entails. And of course I also bought the sequel, The Guncle Abroad. Hey buddy. And then I have Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Literary fiction again. It seems to me it's about self-discovery. His mother was tragically killed in a plane crash. I don't think his relationship with his father is so good. Just do a quick read of the synopsis. Cyrus Shams is a young man grappling with an inheritance of violence and loss. His mother's plane was shot down over the skies of the Persian Gulf in a senseless accident, and his father's life in America was circumscribed by his work killing chickens at a factory farm in the Midwest. He's an alcoholic, he's an addict, he writes poetry. So it just seems an interesting literary fiction pick. And if I like his writing, it's all about the writing. Sometimes the story could be slow-paced, but if the writing is good, I don't mind. And just to give you an example, The Day of the Triffids is a science fiction book. I did finish it. I didn't enjoy it. And I know it's the inspiration to movies like 28 Days Later and The Walking Dead, about waking up in a hospital, you don't know what's going on, and then all of a sudden you find out that the world has gone to hell. So, but I don't like the writing. I just didn't enjoy it. It was slow paced, but again, slow paced can be good if the writing is wonderful. So, yeah, no. And then I have Nathaniel Ian Miller's Red Dog Farm, which I picked up recently, and it's sort of a coming of age. The one, I believe, brother goes off to college, leaves his brother behind, and his brother misses him, and then the brother that went off to college meets someone online. So it sounds like a little bit of a romance, which I didn't know I liked romance until I read You Are Here by David Nichols. I thought that was fantastic. And again, another slow-paced book, but it was really well written. So we'll see what pick I'm going to make. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you back here again. And I invite you to like and subscribe. And again, my name is Steven, and this was What Steven Reads. Thank you.